So sharing today, the Lubavitcher Rebbe says that all correction is done, and all we have to do is polish our buttons. So what does that mean? It means, in a way, like when we think about the Rambam in Sefer Kedusha, chapter 19, Hilchos Isur Abiyah. The Rambam, Maimonides, says that we, one, operate under the assumption that when someone constantly, slurs the lineages of other people and accuses others of being servants, bastards, we become suspicious of their lineage, that we suspect that they're a bastard or a servant. Whoever denigrates others denigrates them with a blemish that he himself possesses. And two, the distinguishing signs of the holy nation of Israel is one, meek, two, merciful, and three, kind. Meek doesn't mean like quiet, like we're also called lions, but it means like humble, modest, like not needing to be the center of attention, and it's a little more like withdrawn or sense of composure. The Lubavitcher Rebbe repeatedly says that the Nasi Hadar is Mashiach, which means the prince of the nation, the leader of the generation. The Rebbe encouraged the singing of Yechi, which was that long live the King Mashiach, who is also the master, the teacher, the Rebbe, the head of the nation, the head of the people, and the Mashiach, which is the anointed one. And each of these we have to connect in different ways. The Rebbe also said that the time for your redemption has arrived, and that Menachem is the name of the Mashiach, and that 770 is the gematria, the numerical value of base of Mashiach, and the Mashiach is in New York, and from there he impacts the world. So this is why a lot of people said that Lubavitcher Rebbe is Mashiach. Another thing I want to say, that when we look at biology, it teaches us that the genotype, the actual code for expression, the blueprint, is not the same as phenotype, which is the expression of the traits. They're not the same thing. It's basically that sometimes the blueprint or the code is not actually observed. It's not actually manifest, even though the code is there. And there are often corrections to the recipe after the mutations occur due to the exposure and degradation for a variety of reasons. In other words, as the code is exposed, it could become altered. It could become degraded for many reasons. Mutations where things are not exactly correct, and this exposure to radiation or to toxins, even stress, there's something called enzymatic zippers. They're like zippers that close the DNA, the genetic code, but they cut off certain parts because they're enzymes, and these that would significantly impede the proper results. So we have to think in there are some ways where pieces get taken off, pieces that were valuable become not valuable, and also this idea that sometimes what we see is not exactly what could possibly be. Then I want to share about jealousy. So jealousy, we have to look at ourselves first. Where might I be jealous? And so I wrote this over a year ago, but I just want to share it because there's a chance that someone could connect with this idea that we could be jealous. But then once we look at this jealousy, we could actually heal and not be jealous anymore. So first is admitting the truth. So I'm just going to go out on a limb. Not go out on a limb. I'm just going to be brave and get the ball rolling. So people with a lot of friends who are invited to many options and events and and I want to pause and say, sometimes we're jealous of something that we actually are. We just don't realize. We think someone else has something that's not our portion. Something I could share over here could be something I 100% have, but I feel jealous that someone else might have it because I don't even realize I have it, right? Something like that. Or I might not only not realize I have it, but think that my ability to have it is related to their ability to not have it. Like if they didn't have it, then I would get it, as if it's something that goes from one person's possession to another. So people who have a lot of friends, invited to many options, events, and get treated and get gifts. Treated means someone sponsors, pays for you, and gets treated out. Gets gifts, gets positive attention and care, and well liked. Me believing that I'm not. Or a outdated belief I'm not, right? Then another outdated belief. People who can take deep breaths and have clear channels, room for flow. Who said I don't? But I won't keep, giving the contrary to each one, but I just want to share. So people who have good sex, which is respectful, bliss, healing, joyous, free, bonding, pleasure, safe, cozy, clear. People who never have been injured and don't suffer from chronic pain or misalignment, specifically in their right outer thigh, hip, jaw, neck, more in the right side, the scapula, the collarbone, the throat. People who don't have freezing cold winter and super humid summer, which is New York City. I mean, how many people live here? It's the whole Northeast, actually, and there's other places with even colder places in America, in USA, and in the North America, and in other parts of the world. So here I am feeling so sorry for myself, right? That I don't have pleasant weather the whole year, but we could see clearly I'm not alone in it. So who am I jealous? I'm jealous of a certain number of people who don't live in these places, but aren't there positives to live in these places? And those people might be jealous of me for what I have here. People who don't work from a desperate place, but from a passionate place, purpose, basically not for money, for purpose, meaning, fulfillment, fun, connection, flow, and productivity. People who drive and have their own car. Now, I could have done that. Why would I be jealous? I don't want to drive or have my own car. People who can cook fresh and good every day that is nutritious and even healthy and medicinal. I do that. There's no one to be jealous of. I do it. People with loving, accepting parents and siblings that support and consider them and appreciate and cherish them. I mean, I could be jealous of those people, but who might they have to be in their relationships? And also, is that something that would have been to my highest good? Or else, if it depends what your beliefs are, would my destiny, my soul, my kismet, like, would it be that I would have eventually not been able to reach my goals and my purpose of being alive with this? In this world, with this reality, with being very close and stay with the family, would I not have branched out and learned new things? And people have the confidence to go on nature trips alone, or having good compatible buddy or group to adventure comfortably with. I've had that. I don't know why I'd be jealous of someone. I could probably rearrange it again. People with discipline and maintenance power for being fit and in shape, exercising, working out. I did have that. I'm basically jealous of past me. People who are mothers, wives for a long time without giving up their self or losing their self. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if anyone doesn't have to give up parts of themselves to have relationship, like as a mother or as a wife. People who don't have the darkened inner thighs rubbing. And the truth is, I could probably find a product that could bleach it. People without HPV, I found out 3/4 of adults, secular, not Jewish necessarily, or a vagina that had wear and tear or gets smelly. I mean, everybody that I know, if they don't wash themselves, will smell. Or there's been some usage on the whole body. It's been alive. My body's been alive for 33 years. People who have residual income, inheritance money that they're given, granted, or awarded. But then again, would I know how to, if I suddenly had all that, would I know how to take care of it, and would I spend it properly? People who could eat lots of yummy food and don't gain weight. I mean, is there really people who could eat toxic foods and don't gain weight? I mean, they probably have to go to the bathroom all the time then, or it could cause other problems if not gaining weight. People who are naturally beautiful with a good jaw, chin, eyes that aren't too close, not such a square butt, no cellulite or bulges, proportionate arms, no hunchback hump. I mean, this is also me making up stories when I look in the mirror. It's poor body image. At the same time, doesn't everybody look in the mirror have the potential to either choose what they think is beautiful or find things that are ugly? And even the same thing, women who are without a hairy mustache or chin or forearms, navel, back of thighs, shins, calves, toes, armpits, groin, inner, upper thigh, neck, around nipples, and butt crack. I mean, not everything on me that I just listed is covered in hair. I grow some hairs here, some hairs grow, like a few hairs grow on my neck, a few hairs randomly over here. One time recently I found like a long hair growing right here, and then the places listed. I mean, this is something that I still sometimes struggle with, to be honest, and I don't know if I should be jealous of someone who doesn't have it, because maybe everything has two sides. Maybe the power and energy I have, which could cause the life of the hair to grow, which is like, vitality. It's really a blessing. Why should I be so sad? I should say my hair grows fast. It's like indicates a healthy level of energy and vitality. So it really is all about how we look at things. So hopefully that was a good practice. I definitely went very much in detail. And then I want to share, before I end this video, some words to live by, because we talk a lot about jealousy. So if we take away all our jealousy, let's think about what we want to fill the space up with, right? So let's go. Don't give evil tidings. Don't interrupt and don't raise my voice. Don't tell people what to do, and don't tell people about themselves. Instead, ask questions, let them tell me. Recognize the advice I give is the advice that I might need the most. Bear in mind, I don't know who's past me or behind me, or because appearances can be deceiving, and I never know who I'm talking to or sitting next to. You never know. And interacting with all, whether it's food, things, people, places, as Hashem, allowing there to be sacredness, more than what meets the eye. Lets Hashem meet me back toward anything. Wherever I open the door, Hashem is there. It's a higher power. So if I let Hashem come through that or that. And there is one more thing I want to share, which is, we're going to get into more stuff, not just, so we talked about jealousy today. Next video, I hope to talk about anger, gluttony, and also just like healing, like being a healer. But before that, I want to touch on one last topic, which is something called spectral awareness. And this is about how there's degrees. So we could say how much good instead of good versus evil. So the old patterns, we might say limiting, a crutch, familiar, judgments, justifications, excuses, black and white thinking. We might say this is overly left brain dominant, the faculty that names things, cuts things apart, rushes to the next thing, consumes. It's like thinking of the tree of knowledge of opposites of good and evil. So these are patterns of understanding and analysis and recognition, grasping. We might call this bina. Bina, in Hebrew, the sphera of bina, the attribute. Then we have flow, losing track of time, could be addiction or impulsivity, sense and body, phenomena, not naming, not analyzing. This is where we have the experiencing without the narrating and explaining, and unlimitedness. But since it's unlimitedness, could be unlimited anything. Like we spoke of jealousy today, could be unlimited jealousy. A sense of infinity. It could be unlimited arrogance. This, God forbid, chas v'shalom, violate the wholeness. So, spirituality is a wholeness. So we would say like that's more right brain dominant, right? Let me get my pen. I wanted to write something about this. I just forgot to write that. So the flow versus so flow is kind of like patterns of, we call them insight, or kind of like we might even say novel thought. This is not like we've really gone over it over and over. So it's right brain dominance. We might even say it's chachma. Chachma is the faculty, we call it wisdom, but it's not always wisdom. Like, it's from that faculty. So when we get out of one or the other, it leads to coherence, ability to have both, the birth of the two coming together, straddling the seat of both sides. So we have right, which is becoming, transformed by the left. Transformed is when both, and by the left, which is the knowledge. So this is the wholeness. For example, dancing is a way to be moved from a stuckness in one or the other to be released for so basically when we're in one or the other, when we move in our body, we get out of one side of the brain and then we come back into the whole brain. So this is a spectral awareness. It's a barometer. For example, with a temperature, we don't have a measurement for heat and then a different measurement for cold. We just have one for degrees of heat, whether it's 1 degree, 5, 10, 50, 100 degrees, 200 degrees. Spectral awareness is degrees. So let's say we want to do degrees of joy versus, instead of this dichotomy of sad versus joy, or degrees of redemption instead of this exile versus redemption, degrees of shelter instead of homelessness versus shelter. Like how much shelter does someone have? How much joy does someone have? How much redemption? We come into this wholeness, and this can be applied to heal any divide. So the degrees that we feel rested versus tired, instead of feeling tired versus rested, or degrees of calm instead of calm versus anxious. So hopefully we could start looking at things as how much good instead of good versus evil, knowing that dancing is a way to get out of one side versus the other. If we're just overthinking about something and we don't, or we're just losing track of time, and neither one is so exactly the way to always be. So hopefully this is helpful, and I wish you a good day. And it's also the new month. I wish you a good new month. This is a special sense of sleep. So for Kislev, so that means that our dream world, our subconscious, when our soul makes new agreements and arrangements and reports on itself and reports back to itself, and it's also the time of the winter. There's longer nights. So may we all be cozy and warm this month, and bright light and the glimmers come through all the cracks, and everything becomes one brightness, luminousness, and all the sparks become elevated for this time, and that we don't overthink, and we don't lose ourselves in something, but rather we have that coherence, that left and right brain transformational experience. We could dance and sing as much as we need and as much as we're supposed to in appropriate, proper ways, and that we do experience the Mashiachness. And since Mashiach is all about has always historically been, and also of course to be our Jewish nature, and to teach, and all the 70 nations of the world to support the Jews, knowing that the supporting Israel, the nation and the land of Israel, is what's mandatory. And that would be the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is to be totally wiped out of existence. And I mean, a little worse than supporting the Jews is to have to become eventually slaves, to the Jewish people. It's not what we want either. The nation of Israel, the land of Israel. So so important now to recognize the support the ones who are choosing to be the light and in the world. So important. We said it's like being humble, being I want to read them exactly, the three things. Being humble, being merciful, being kind. So not to try to put our shoe over anyone, being kind and having mercy. Mercy is more than kindness even. So being kind, and then of course obviously like this idea of the Mashiach coming in the future. We think in the future, we're always future oriented, or thinking about the exile, the past was so bad, or so good, and just this back and forth, being pulled in two directions instead of this, how much use it and to become more into the spectral awareness. And in one of the ways to recognize being present is the practice of Mashiach, because if we're not living for the future, we want to practice in a messianic way, we would live for now, not for now, we would live in the now moment, be here now. May that be our strength this month, and may we accomplish that which we've set out, as we kind of in a way sometimes might hibernate a little more. May we actually cause it have a lot of fruitfulness from this, because in the winter the plants are growing underground, deep underground, and then in the spring they really start to blossom, right? So it's like now the things are happening underground. So may we see fruits of our actions and our choices and all the work we put in, and including, like for me, for example, I'd love to make progress and finish up my book that I wanted to work on, the workbook, and also start a new book. And this month I'd love to do that, and then also because we're ending the 2024 secular year, and then of course also I'd like to catch up on all my reading. I have a pile of reading I've committed to, and then over the holiday season I couldn't get to. So may we all reach our goals, and these small goals in the bigger picture become steps for us to our larger goals. Amen. Ken Yehi Ritzon. May everybody have the shelter that they need, and the warmth and the protection and the provisions. May we all be safe and secure, and with love and laughter. Amen. Amen.